Good morning from the ship. So as you can see, I'm in my cabin. It is a glorious morning. We have just docked in Skagway, Alaska. If you've never heard of it, it's gorgeous, and actually where you dock is just surrounded by beautiful mountains. Today, I am planning on doing a hike because I have pretty much the whole day off. I just had a meeting in the morning and now I'm going to go with a group. So I'm a bit tired today, and some of the other people that I'm going with are also tired because we do have very physically intense jobs as performers. I do want to do the most challenging hike that's here, and I believe that is Upper Dewy Lake. I've done Lower Dewy Lake hike a few times. It's basically a steep incline to a lake, and then you walk around the lake, super easy, come back, and then of course get a beer in the Skagway Brewery, which has amazing beer. It's like there's like a twine flavored beer, which I remember from last season. Eventually I do want to do Upper Dewy, and I'll probably do a video on that because it is gorgeous, I've heard. However, it's like a 7-hour hike and you have to mentally prepare, physically prepare, pack lots of snacks, and I don't have any snacks right now, so I think that's for a time in the future when I'm better prepared. However, come and join me for some hiking today. It's a shorter hike, but it has amazing views, and I guarantee you it will be on your bucket list for when you come to Alaska. I packed all my things and headed off the ship into town. The ship was docked a bit farther out and required us to walk a few meters to take a shuttle into the main area because there had been landslides along the dock for the past few years, and they wanted to make sure we got into and back from port safely. Once we were dropped off, we walked to the entrance of Dewy Lake Trails, which is just across the railroad at the bottom of the mountain. The White Pass and Yukon Route Railway begins in Skagway at sea level and goes through the beautiful mountains and following the Yukon River all the way up to the White Pass summit, famous for gold excavations, which eventually led to the gold rush. The railway was actually built after gold was discovered at the location of what is now the White Pass summit, and led to an influx of visitors, or gold diggers in the very literal sense, in search of wealth and prosperity. The railway suspended service in 1982 when the Anvil gold mines that it served were closed, but a portion of the lower line was reopened in 1988 for tourist travel. In 2007, voters approved the transition of Skagway from city to municipality status. A portion of the municipality, can't pronounce that word, is included within Klondike Gold Rush National Historic Park. In this way, the rich history of Skagway attracts many visitors, especially from the cruise ships and ferries, since it is not easily accessible to visit. So once you walk up that steep area to get to the lake, you just have a pretty easy walk around the lake. As you can see here, it's pretty flat, and then you can find these little areas that are cool, like places to have little barbecues and stuff. So this is kind of like a little island on the, not the river, the lake. And we just kind of kept walking. It was really nice and sunny. We got really lucky with the weather, actually. And we just made our way around the lake, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. Actually, I'm going to show you a clip coming up here because we did have a bit of fun with the ice. Oh yeah, this is like a
lollipop.
It's really heavy. I really thought you were gonna throw it. So here we are now, continuing on our hike. Yes, we had a bit of fun, but you have to have a bit of fun by this lake. There's just so much to see, so much to do, and it's really nice to go with a group. I've been a few times with different groups, and that's really nice. Actually, this is where I jumped off last time I was here. So me and my friends jumped off of that cliff. I would say it's a cliff because it was really high. You couldn't really tell from that angle. But yeah, last year I did jump off of that and it was a bit scary. I will say I did kind of body flop, which was really bad. But it was a lot of fun and I ended up surviving, so that's good. You're not actually supposed to do things like that on the cruise ship that in any way put you at risk for getting injured off of the ship, because the medical team does not provide any medical services to those who get injured off of the ship. So I would have had to pay the consequences if anything had happened, but luckily it didn't, and I'm probably never gonna do that again, to be honest, even though it was a cool experience. So this time we had a bit more of a relaxing experience just coming to the lake, but you can actually swim. It's just at the beginning of the season, beginning of the Alaska season, so it is early May, so we decided not to swim, but a lot of people swim right at this spot. And then you can also kayak as well, and the kayaks are free if you go there. They also have these, I'm not sure exactly what they are, but they're these little spits or spikes for ice. So now we're walking into town, and we finished our hike. Our bodies were very sore. My feet specifically were very sore. So we went to the Skagway Brewing Company, which is my favorite. In the downtown quote-unquote city, really more of a small town, just one strip, are lots of tourist sites and information. There's one strip which they call Broadway, which in comparison to New York City Broadway is very different, but in the main area it does make sense that this is considered the main attraction. You will find lots of things to do regardless of how small it is. There's lots of interactive theater shows and live music in historic saloons, which is cool. If you walk by, sometimes you can see the brothel actors hanging from the windows calling out to passerbyers to try and get them in, which is cool. There's also a museum, the Trail of 98 Museum, which contains Gold Rush era memorabilia, which is definitely worth looking at. There's so many jewelry stores as well, you can imagine why. But they also have some Tlingit jewelry, which is made from the Tlingit tribe of Native Americans that originated and still reside in Alaska and Canada, which is really cool. You'll also see their culture a prevalent part of visiting many ports in Alaska, with totem poles often lined up along the cities. However, Skagway specifically is more based in colonial history due to the Gold Rush era having a large presence, as well as the industrial attraction of the railway. It truly is so beautiful here, and I was sad to go back onto the ship. Here's me going through security and back to my room, although I was exhausted, but I just can't wait to go back next week and experience something else all again, and I will let you know how that goes, what I end up doing. But thanks for following along this journey. So that was a typical hiking day in Alaska. I'm back now in my room, and I'm a little bit tired. Don't know if you can really tell, but I am pretty tired, especially after the beer, because the hike wasn't actually that long. It was about 2 hours. We did stop a little bit to take pictures and relax and stuff. I am going to film more hikes, so keep an eye out for that. I'm probably going to try to do Upper Dewey next time instead of Lower Dewey, because I've done that now a couple times, but it was nice to have a little refresher. There's not a lot to do in Skagway if you're just walking around the town, because it's obviously really small. As you could see, that strip that I took videos of is pretty much the only strip in Skagway, so that's the extent of it. But it is a fantastic place to go out and do a hike or some kind of excursion. In that way, Skagway is definitely better for outdoor activities like hiking, biking, kayaking, things like that. Also, if you want to drop some more cash, you can of course go on helicopter tours and play with huskies. You can do a lot of guided tours. You can also go on the White Pass train. That is a train tour. It's about 2 hours and it goes around Skagway, and it's gorgeous, I've heard. But the hikes are definitely a fantastic place to start, and they're cheap. Completely free, in fact. Thanks for checking out this video on hiking in Skagway, Alaska, and I'll talk to you guys soon.